please subscribe and share for more story. Janelle Rivers liked quiet mornings, the kind where she could peel an orange and listen to the wind move through the pines outside her kitchen window. At 70 years old, she had earned peace, real peace, the kind that came after decades of sewing, cleaning, saving, and surviving more disappointments than she liked to count. On this particular Thursday in 2022, she stood beside the sink, letting the sunlight warm her shoulders, when she heard a voice that made her fingers stop moving. It was Bianca, her daughter-in-law, speaking from the living room with the careless tone of someone who never paid attention to cost. "Liam, I found the perfect upgrade," Bianca announced. "It's only $25,000. We deserve something nice." Janelle frowned. $25,000? For what? A car? A medical bill? Something urgent? She shuffled 2 steps toward the doorway and saw Bianca sitting comfortably on the old brown couch Janelle and her late husband, Howard, bought 40 years ago. Bianca wasn't talking about anything urgent. She was pointing at a stainless steel refrigerator in a glossy catalog, smiling like a woman choosing a necklace instead of a luxury appliance. Liam stood beside her, nodding along, already surrendering. Janelle stayed near the doorway, hidden just enough to watch the scene unfold. Bianca tapped the picture with a manicured fingernail. "It chills wine," she said proudly. "It has an automatic inventory system. Liam, it tells you when you're low on groceries." Liam gave a weak laugh. "Yeah, that sounds high-tech." Bianca leaned closer, lowering her voice to a silky tone Janelle knew too well. "It would look amazing in our kitchen. A real investment." Janelle blinked. "Our kitchen?" Bianca didn't own a single tile in that house. Liam finally asked, "How would we pay for it?" Bianca shrugged like the answer was obvious. "Your mom has plenty. She barely spends anything. She won't mind." Janelle tightened her grip on the counter. Her money represented exhausted nights at a sewing machine and years alone after Howard died. Yet Bianca spoke like Janelle kept stacks of cash for decoration. Liam sighed. "I'll talk to Mom." Bianca smiled in quiet victory because Liam always surrendered. The next moment made Janelle's breath stop. Liam reached toward the dining chair where her purse hung and slipped his hand inside without asking, like it belonged to him. "What are you doing, boy?" Janelle whispered to herself. He expected to find her bank card. Bianca didn't stop him. She simply waited, eyes sharp. Instead of a card, Liam pulled out folded papers Janelle placed there that morning. He opened them. Confusion turned to shock. His face drained pale. "Bianca," he whispered, "these papers say the house is still in Mom's name." Silence filled the room. Bianca sat up straight. "What?" She snatched the deed, scanning fast. "After living here, she never added you?" Janelle stepped back into the kitchen and poured hot water, pretending not to hear, pretending her son still saw her as family, not an asset. That night, Janelle couldn't sleep. At 2:47 a.m., she heard whispers sliding through the hallway. She stayed still and listened. Bianca hissed, "I cannot believe she didn't add you. After everything we've done, living here, helping her. What is she thinking?" Liam sounded weak. "I just assumed. I'm her only child." Bianca scoffed. "Assumption doesn't pay for anything. She has money sitting there. I saw the statements when I was looking for that envelope. It's doing nothing. We could put some toward the fridge." Janelle shut her eyes in the dark. Bianca continued, "She's 70, Liam. How much longer does she need savings?" Janelle waited for Liam to defend her. He didn't. He sighed. "You're right. She has enough. It makes sense if we manage it." Bianca pressed lower. "Tomorrow morning we find that new card. We'll tell her she agreed. She forgets little things now. She won't notice." Janelle stared into the darkness, something in her turning cold. The next morning, Janelle stood in front of the mirror. She saw a woman who had survived poverty and widowhood. Not fragile, sharpened by life. She put on a neat skirt, a pressed blouse and pearl earrings, grabbed her bag and documents, and slipped out before Bianca or Liam woke. She reached the bank before opening and waited on a bench. When the doors unlocked, She went straight to a representative named Mr. Clark. "What can I do for you?" he asked. Janelle inhaled. "I need to protect my money for my son." Saying it hurt, but it was true. She explained the refrigerator, the whispers, and the search through her purse. Mr. Clark nodded. "You're doing the right thing." Over the next hour, they changed PINs, passwords, and security questions. She canceled her old debit card. They added transaction alerts. Then Mr. Clark helped her create a private savings account that could only be accessed in person with ID. Janelle felt her lungs loosen for the first time in months. Janelle looked at Mr. Clark. "What if they try logging in?" His answer was simple. "We make a decoy." They opened a tiny checking account with $300 connected to the old card number. Everything else, her real savings, moved into a hidden account invisible online. "If anyone gains access," Mr. Clark said, "they'll think you only have $300. Janelle nearly cried with relief. Someone believed her. Someone helped her. She left the bank, bought cinnamon rolls and sunflowers, and went home pretending the morning was normal. Bianca and Liam sat in the living room tense and waiting. "Where were you, Mom?" Liam asked. "Just errands," Janelle replied, placing flowers in a vase. Bianca stared, studying her face. Liam forced a fake laugh. The house fell silent again. But Janelle did not tremble. For the first time in a long time, she felt safe. By the afternoon, Bianca brought the refrigerator up again. Her voice had lost its charm and turned sharp. "Janelle," the store called. "That discount ends tomorrow. We need to pay today. There are only 2 units left." Janelle sat in her armchair sipping tea, looking Bianca directly in the eye.
"No," she said.
Bianca blinked.
"What?"
Janelle repeated calmly. "No. We don't need a $25,000 refrigerator. The one we have works." Bianca's cheeks flushed with anger. Liam watched silently, jaw tight. Bianca stood fast. "Janelle, you don't understand. This is a good deal." Janelle shook her head. "My answer is final." Bianca muttered something ugly and stormed off. Liam stayed. "Mom, you don't get it," he said, voice trembling. "We need help.
"We have debts."
You sit on all this money." Janelle set her cup down. "That money is mine. I earned it through years of work. It is for my safety, not a luxury you want." Liam's eyes hardened.
"Fine.
"When you're old and alone, remember this moment." He left the room, slamming the door. Janelle sat still. The hurt was real, but her resolve was stronger. The next days were heavy with silence. Bianca and Liam avoided Janelle. They ate in the guest room. When she walked in, they walked out. But Janelle understood something important. Their behavior proved her point. They didn't love her. They loved what they could take. That truth hurt more than the insults. One afternoon, the landline rang. Janelle answered. "Good morning, I'm calling from West Summit Bank Fraud Department," a woman said. "We need to verify a recent transaction." Janelle froze. "I haven't made any recent transactions." The woman continued. "A charge for $500 at an appliance warehouse was flagged. We need your card number and the 3-digit code." Janelle's pulse jumped. The bank never asked for numbers. This was a scam. "No," she said coldly. "If there's a problem, I will come in myself." The woman pushed. "You could be robbed. Act quickly." Janelle hung up. She walked down the hallway and heard frantic whispering behind Liam and Bianca's door. She knocked hard. Bianca opened, face blank. Janelle asked, "Was that you?" Pretending to be the bank. Bianca didn't blink. "I have no idea what you're talking about." "Maybe you're confused." Confused, there was that word again. That night, Janelle stayed awake in her armchair. The house was quiet until 1:04 a.m., when she heard soft footsteps in the hallway.
Slow.
Careful. Someone stopped outside her bedroom door. The brass doorknob turned gently, but the lock blocked it. A frustrated breath slipped through the silence, then the footsteps retreated. Janelle sat rigid. The next morning, after Liam and Bianca left, she examined her room. Her drawers were slightly moved. Her jewelry box had shifted. They weren't looking for earrings, they were looking for documents. Janelle packed everything important: the deed, her will, the bank sheet, her ID copy, birth certificate. She carried the tote to Margaret's house, her closest friend for 30 years. Margaret opened the door, and her face filled with worry. They sat at the kitchen table. Janelle explained everything: the scam call, the door turning at night, the search. Margaret shook her head, tears in her eyes. "Liam used to be such a sweet boy," she whispered. Janelle exhaled. Money changed him. Margaret stored the papers in her late husband's locked office safe. "You're protected here," she promised. Janelle hugged her. It was the first safe hug she'd felt in months. When Janelle returned home, Bianca and Liam stood waiting in the living room. Liam didn't bother hiding his suspicion. "Where were you?" he demanded. "Visiting Margaret," Janelle replied.
Why?
Liam stepped forward. "What did you take with you? That bag was full when you left. It's empty now. What was in it?" Janelle calmly set her purse down. "It is none of your business what I carry in my own bag." Liam's face darkened, and he stormed into her bedroom. Janelle followed and watched silently as he ripped through her belongings: closet, drawers, under the bed. Bianca joined him, desperate and wild-eyed. They tore the room apart. Janelle didn't shout. She just stood with her arms crossed. When Liam finally stopped, sweating and angry, he demanded, "Where's the deed?" Janelle replied calmly, "Somewhere you will never find." Liam glared. "That house belongs to me." Janelle said, "No. It belongs to the person who paid for it." He stepped close enough for her to smell the coffee on his breath. "You're going to regret this," he whispered. Janelle stared back. "I'd rather live alone than with thieves." Liam stormed out, slamming the door so hard a frame fell from the wall. 3 days passed. The tension only grew. Janelle watered her plants and tried to breathe, but she could feel something darker gathering. One afternoon, she returned from a short walk and saw a black sedan in her driveway. Her stomach tightened. Inside, Liam sat with a well-dressed stranger holding a leather briefcase. Liam smiled too widely. "Mom, this is Mr. Dalton," he said sweetly. "He's here to help you." Mr. Dalton rose, extending a hand Janelle didn't take. "Mrs. Rivers, your son is concerned about your well-being. He says you've been confused. Managing finances at your age can be a burden." Confused again. Burden again. Janelle stared at Liam. "You did this." Liam cleared his throat. "He's here to help you sign a power of attorney, so I can manage things. Bills. Decisions. The house." Janelle felt her pulse spike. "You want legal control?" Mr. Dalton kept smiling. "This is normal for seniors." Janelle straightened. "My affairs are in order. My mind is sharp. I am being targeted." Liam snapped. "Mom, stop being dramatic. Let us help." Janelle pointed toward the door. "Get out." Mr. Dalton lifted his briefcase, annoyed, and left. Liam followed, furious. The moment the door shut, Liam exploded. "You are being stubborn and irrational. We are trying to protect you." Janelle shot back. "No, you are trying to control me."
She pointed at him.
"I heard you. I heard every whisper, every plan." Liam froze, his eyes narrowing. Bianca stepped in from the hallway, voice sharp. "You can't take care of yourself. You are old. You need us." Janelle's voice didn't shake. "I took care of myself before you existed. I survived before you learned to walk. You are not my rescuers, you're opportunists." Bianca spit out. "You're going to end up in a home." Janelle whispered, "Not because of you." She locked herself in her bedroom. From behind the door, she heard Bianca hiss, "We'll get guardianship. Mr. Dalton said if we give testimony and get a doctor's note, a judge will grant it." Guardianship. A legal trap. They wanted control over every dollar, every decision, even where she lived. Janelle sat on her bed in the dark, fear crawling up her spine. But inside that fear was something stronger: rage. They underestimated the wrong woman. The next morning, Janelle made coffee with steady hands. Bianca and Liam whispered over their mugs. Liam finally said, "Mom, we're going out." "Errands." Janelle nodded, but she already knew exactly where they were going. They were headed to the bank to try their final trick. After they left, Janelle waited 10 minutes, then called Mr. Clark. "My son and his wife are coming to your branch," she warned. "They will lie. They will say I'm hospitalized or confused. Do not release anything." Mr. Clark replied, "Understood. Your alerts are active. We will follow protocol." Janelle hung up and sat on the couch, hands folded. She stared at the clock. 9:30, 9:45. At 10:12, her phone rang. Mr. Clark said, "Your son is here. He claims you had a fall and need immediate medical funds. He is insisting." Janelle asked, "What did you tell him?" Mr. Clark said, "That we require you in person. He is angry. Security may escort him out." Janelle closed her eyes. Her son lied about her health without hesitation. He chose money over dignity, over truth, over her. 2 hours later, the front door swung open. Bianca cursed. Liam looked defeated and enraged at the same time. They entered the living room and glared at Janelle, who sat calmly. Liam's voice shook. "What did you do? Why did you tell the bank to block me?" "I am your son." Janelle stood. "You are not entitled to my money." Bianca lunged forward. "We took care of you. We lived here." Janelle laughed. "You lived here because you were broke. I fed you, and you planned to bleed me dry." Liam shouted, "You owe us." Janelle's eyes sharpened.
You owe yourselves.
"I heard you planning to rob me. I heard you planning guardianship. I heard everything." Bianca froze. Liam swallowed hard. Janelle walked to the front door and opened it wide.
Leave.
"Pack your things and get out of my house." Bianca shrieked, "We have rights." Janelle said, "No, you have luggage. And you're leaving." Bianca dragged Liam toward their bedroom. Janelle stood still, holding the door open, finally unafraid of silence. For the next 30 minutes, suitcases thumped, drawers slammed, and Bianca hissed insults under her breath. Liam barely spoke. When they finally rolled their luggage into the hallway, Liam paused at the door. For a second, Janelle saw the boy he once was, the child who hugged her knees, the teenager who promised to buy her a house someday. But the moment passed. He stared at her with hollow anger. "Goodbye, Mom," he muttered. Janelle didn't answer. She simply held the door open. Bianca stomped down the steps, yanked the car trunk open, and shoved her suitcase inside. Liam followed. They drove away, without looking back. When the car disappeared around the corner, Janelle finally closed the door. She leaned her forehead against the wood and allowed the tears to come. Not for losing company, but for losing a child she thought she knew. She cried for the years she sacrificed, the nights she worked late, the meals she skipped so Liam could have basketball shoes or field trip money. But under the grief was relief, a trembling, powerful relief. She was safe. The next morning the house was painfully quiet. No slamming doors. No whispers. No tension. Just silence. Janelle stood in the middle of the living room and breathed. Margaret came by at noon with a thermos of strong coffee and warm biscuits. She didn't ask questions. She just sat. Finally, Janelle told her everything. The fake bank call, the deed, the attempt at guardianship. Margaret squeezed her hand. "You did the right thing," she said firmly. "They would have destroyed you." Janelle nodded, unsure whether she felt victorious or simply emptied out. Later that afternoon, she entered the guest bedroom with a bucket and sponge. She stripped the sheets, shook out the pillows, and opened the windows wide so Colorado air could sweep in. She vacuumed, wiped, and sorted. She found a pair of Bianca's socks and one of Liam's caps. She put both into a cardboard box. She didn't throw them away. She simply carried the box to the attic. Let time decide what to do with those pieces. The room smelled clean again, like hers again. A month passed. Janelle settled into a new rhythm. The bank confirmed that Bianca and Liam tried to access the decoy account twice, finding only $300. They quickly stopped trying. Janelle rarely left the house that first month, choosing to knit, clean, and refill her quiet. 3 Saturdays later, the phone rang with an unfamiliar number. Janelle hesitated, then answered. "Mom." It was Liam, his voice thinner, tired. "I just wanted to call," he said quietly. "Bianca left me." Janelle said nothing. Liam continued, his voice cracking. "She walked out the day after we left. When she realized there was no money, she said I was useless." Janelle closed her eyes. She wasn't surprised. Liam said, "She never loved me. She loved what she thought you had." Janelle finally asked, "Where are you living?" "A rented room near downtown. I got a warehouse job loading trucks. I'm trying to pay off what I owe." Janelle didn't congratulate or comfort him. She only said, "I'm glad you're working." A painful silence sat between them. Then Liam whispered, "Mom, I am sorry. I don't know what happened to me. I'm sorry." Janelle's throat tightened. After everything, part of her still loved him. "Liam," she said slowly, "I will always love you. You are my son. But what you tried to do was unforgivable. You hurt me in a way I never imagined. I need time to heal." Liam sniffed. "Can I call again?" Janelle answered gently, "No. If I am ever ready, I will call you." A small sob leaked into the receiver. "I understand."
Goodbye, Mom.
Janelle hung up. She didn't cry out of despair. She cried because the conversation carved a final boundary. The wound had closed into a scar. Seasons shifted.
Leaves changed.
Janelle pulled her old sewing machine out of the closet. She started quilting again, bright cotton patterns that reminded her of freedom. Margaret invited her to a knitting group at the community center on Tuesdays. Janelle joined, shy at first, then comfortable. She listened to other women tell their stories. Agnes, whose son tried to force her into a nursing home to sell her condo. Bea, who had to hire an attorney because her niece drained her savings. Janelle realized she was not alone. There was an unspoken army of older women who had survived financial betrayal. One Thursday, she passed an art store and saw a flyer. Watercolor classes for seniors. She remembered wanting to paint decades ago, before Howard, before bills, before exhaustion. The next week, she showed up. She sat in front of blank paper, terrified. The instructor smiled kindly. "Just breathe," he said. "Let the water do the work." Janelle painted a simple tree under blue sky. It wasn't perfect, but it was hers. She placed it in a frame and hung it on the living room wall, where a photo of Liam and Bianca used to sit. That old photo went into the attic box. The painting stayed. Her life was slowly reclaimed. Her Tuesdays, knitting. Thursdays, watercolor. Mornings, gardening. Afternoons, library books. The house smelled of bread or cinnamon or a lavender spray. It was peaceful, not lonely. She woke up every day with no fear of footsteps at her door. One crisp autumn morning, Janelle walked back from the farmer's market with a bag of apples. As she turned onto her street, she saw a man standing at the corner. Liam. He looked thinner, and the warehouse work had hardened his shoulders, but his eyes were tired. He raised a hand. "Mom," he called softly. Janelle froze in place. Liam took a step toward crossing the street. His voice cracked. "Mom, please, just talk to me." Janelle stood still. The memories of whispered plans, of being called confused, of hands in her purse, all of it rushed back. She looked at the man in front of her.
Not the boy she raised.
A man shaped by greed, regret, and consequences. She shifted the apple bag in her arms, lifted her chin, then turned away without a word. She walked toward her home. Not fast, not shaken, just steady. Liam didn't call again. He stayed rooted on the corner, watching her leave. She didn't look back. She reached her door, closed it behind her, and exhaled deeply. Forgiveness might come one day. But trust? Trust was fragile glass. Once shattered, it never returned to full strength. Janelle sat in her kitchen sipping coffee, eyes drifting to the watercolor painting.
A
small green tree, crooked and imperfect, surrounded by sky. It represented something money couldn't buy: peace. She thought of the decoy account Mr. Clark built. It now held $4.19, the last attempt Liam made before giving up. Her real savings, untouched, rested safely in a private account. Her house was hers. Her life was hers. She had learned a brutal but important truth. A mother's love is powerful, but it should never make her a victim. She whispered to herself, protection is not selfish. She imagined younger women learning the same lesson early, before sacrifice turned into self-destruction. She stood, stretched her back, and opened a new sketchpad. She began another tree, taller, fuller, brighter. Her peace was non-negotiable, and she had earned it twice. Winter arrived slowly in Colorado. Janelle shoveled light snow from her walkway, humming softly to herself. She didn't rush. She didn't strain. She worked at her own rhythm, enjoying a life that finally belonged to her. Sometimes she wondered whether Liam would call again, but the silence stayed. It wasn't cruel silence, it was necessary. She needed distance to rebuild her identity beyond motherhood. One evening, after knitting group, Janelle sat with Margaret at the diner. Margaret stirred her tea. "Do you ever think of letting him back in?" she asked gently. Janelle stared out the window at the falling snow. "I think of loving him," she said, "but love doesn't mean access." Margaret nodded. They ate warm pie together, surrounded by laughter and conversations that did not demand anything from Janelle. Not her money, not her papers, not her future. When she returned home, she turned on the small lamp by her watercolor tree and smiled. She was not waiting for an apology. She was not waiting for rescue. She was simply living. By early spring, Janelle received a thick envelope in the mail addressed in careful handwriting. For a moment, her hands trembled. Liam's writing. She sat at the table and opened it slowly. Inside was a short letter. "Mom, I am getting therapy. I am learning how selfish I became. I am trying to understand myself. I am not asking for money. I am only asking that one day, you won't hate the sound of my name." There was also a money order for $50. Liam wrote, "For groceries. I owe you more than I can ever repay." Janelle sat quietly. She didn't smile.
She didn't cry.
She folded the letter once and placed it inside a drawer, not close to her heart, but not in the trash either. It was a beginning. Not forgiveness, not reunion, but a sign that Liam was walking a different path. Whether he stayed on that path wasn't her responsibility anymore. That weight was gone. Months later, on her 71st birthday, Janelle lit a single candle on a cupcake. Margaret and the knitting ladies sang softly around her. No champagne. No speeches. Just gentle joy. Janelle made a birthday wish without closing her eyes. Let my peace continue. She had learned that safety didn't come from walls or money. It came from choices. Choices to say no. Choices to defend what she built. Choices to walk away from blood when blood became a threat. Her life was small now, but it was honest. After the guests left, she washed her plate, turned off the kitchen light, and stood a moment in the living room. The watercolor tree hung above her mantel, crooked, imperfect, but alive. Janelle whispered to the empty room, "I am okay." She didn't need applause. She didn't need permission. Her survival was its own celebration. Her dignity remained intact. Her peace remained sacred. And as she headed to bed, she carried only one truth with her. Sometimes the bravest thing a woman can do is save herself and keep going. Thanks for watching. If you value stories of respect, dignity, and justice, please subscribe. It means more than you know, and it lets me keep sharing the lessons life has carved into me.